showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Raise up a white flag. Didn't come this far just to turn back. The curtains fall for the last act. Breaking that levee, breaking that levee. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait to see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait to see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary.
It's explosive. You can't control this, no. I got metal running through my bones, a resurrection like a ghost. Hurricane, go ahead and blow. Where you could keep your white flag, I'll never fold. A shadow on a battlefield, a survivor, never yield. A thunder, go ahead and shade. Don't run from the storm when I feel the rain. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. I got a fever in my blood, a falling embers from above. I feel the heat when the pressure blows, a wildfire that you can't control. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. With every beat of my heart, I'll be the light in the dark. You can't control this, I'm explosive. can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection. If we fix your foundation and you mention Race on Texas, you will get a 1-year free subscription to the All Access Pass.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the FTSR Mach 1 Performance Cup Series for race number 11 of 13 in the 2024 A season. I'm Jason Rockfell, and alongside me today, new face to LSRTV, but usually on the opposite end, Brody Hanna will be our cuddler analyst here for tonight. Also, driver analyst, and then Charles Wooten will be pressing all the buttons for us as usual. Like always, Brody, welcome to the booth, man. First time being up here with us. I'm sure you're going to have a really good time. Should be fun for you tonight.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I thank you for you guys having me. It's an honor to be amongst the honorable Jake Rockefeller. After the win last week at Talladega, I figured I'd come and try the other seat as well. And Charles behind the scenes. Looking forward to a great race tonight at Dover.
Yeah, and it definitely should be a great one for sure. Let's take a look here at the Hunt the Front TV race analysis before qualifying gets underway here. Remember, no fast repair, 100% fuel load. We'll talk about what that fuel run looks like here in just a few seconds. 5 sets of tires total here tonight. 3 green, white checkered attempts if need be. A 200-lap race, and the 2-stage breaks will be at the completions of laps 35 and 75. And Brody, I know you really don't like this car all that much. I'm sure that's why you're with us up here in the booth, my friend. But listen, this track for Dover is so tough to do. I ran a B-fixed race here earlier this week, and I ran a couple truck C-fixed races. And I must say, when that right front tire starts to wear out here, and I know it doesn't wear as much in the next-gen car, but when it wears out a ton here at Dover, you are just on the struggle bus, and you are tight, is what these drivers are probably going to be saying here tonight.
Absolutely. There's a reason why they call this the Monster Mile. It eats tires. That's what it eats. And sometimes race cars as well. It is a tough track, and only the best seem to get it right here at Dover. Looking forward to seeing who can pull it off. You know, Nathan Biggart's been on a tear. He got 3 wins this season so far. You got Richie trying to chase him. You got Jeff Chandler, some of my teammates there, but you also got some other guys out there that are really strong.
Yeah, and it definitely should be a good one, obviously. Nathan Biggart holds that points lead coming into tonight over Richie Coy by just 70 points. And with tonight's race being included, if you look past into the future with the schedule, only 2 races remain in 2024A. We have Kansas and then Darlington to wrap up the A portion of 2024. And here's the thing, too, Brody, as we look at the Coffin Creative weather conditions, 15-mile-an-hour wind speed, track temp 98, air temp, man, I wish it was about that amount in the sky last night or yesterday at Dover, because, boy, I look like a roasted chicken from all the sun that I endured at Dover yesterday, and that was a hot one for sure. But this is the thing. If Richie Coy wants to try and get to Nathan Bigart in these points here, he is going to have to maximize on points tonight between the two stages and obviously lead the most laps and whatever he can do to try to keep Nathan Bigart here behind him tonight. We know Richie's good at Dover, but Nathan Bigart's been so fast here tonight.
He's got an uphill road to go as well to try to catch Nathan, because he's fast everywhere we go. He's always one of the top competitors. But you also got to look at some newcomers like Michael Strickland tonight in the 9 car. He's been quick right off the bat. He's had some fast laps in practice earlier. You got Joshua Johnson up there, who sometimes doesn't really show his stuff in practice, but he's put a good lap up on the board as well. And you got people like Lane Allen, Jeff Chandler, and Brian Bliss right there on the heels of those guys.
And Jeff Chandler, you mentioned also, not to mention the fact is that last year he was the 2023 pole sitter and also went on to win last year's 2023 race at Dover and went on to lead 191 laps. Brody, I think that Jeff Chandler might be the guy to beat here tonight. But again, there's so much new stout competition. And ever since 1 year ago, drivers have had more track time. They've been on the simulator a lot more since then. You look at drivers like Jose Acosta, who wasn't here for Dover 1 year ago. Nathan Bigart, the same could be said for him. And a few other guys. It's going to be really tough for some of these seasoned vets to try to come in here and obviously outdo the rookies tonight because they've been so fast all season.
You know, Jose Acosta, he's one guy I failed to mention, but I don't know how I missed him. He's been fast every week as well. He's a threat everywhere we go. One of the more aggressive guys on track, but he can get things done. This is more of an aggressive type track, and so I think that kind of fits into his wheelhouse. You can kind of see him make some moves. But I did talk to Jeff Chandler before the race a little bit, and he said he's been practicing pretty in depth here for Dover. Looks forward to trying to see what he can kind of pull out of some of the practice races he's done, and hopefully to kind of get back on track tonight. He's had some issues as of late.
Yeah, Jeff Chandler's made 9 starts so far this season, only 2 top 10s to show for those 9 races that he has competed in. He's got no wins. Maybe tonight that can change for the driver of the number 31 machine, but up at the top of the board in qualifying right now with just under 2 minutes remaining, Nathan Bigart, fastest in practice, currently fastest up at the top of the board with a 22.468. That is almost an entire tenth faster than Richie Coy. Yeah, no surprise there. Remember how strong Nathan Bigart has been this season. You look at his stats coming into tonight. This man has got 10 starts, so he's competed in all 10 races. He's got 3 poles out of the 10 races, 3 wins, 7 stage wins, 8 top 10s, and 7 top 5s rather. This guy has been probably the biggest hot commodity and probably the biggest talk, I'd say, here on FTSR since he started at the beginning of the season at Daytona.
Oh, he definitely is. I mean, he's been on a hot streak, man. He's faster where he goes. One of the nicest guys you could talk to, too, which I think really plays well to when you get in traffic or get racing with somebody. You know, there's certain guys that you're like, okay, they're going to be kind of aggressive. He kind of takes it easy, man. He can really kind of ease his way through the field and just finds himself in position a lot of the times. I mean, he's definitely got the speed, but he just kind of takes his time and is able to get things done. Lane Allen with a hot lap, too, with 4th place right there. And I don't know how I didn't mention Jamie Knopf and Daniel Simmons and those guys. They're fast every week as well. We've got so many fast guys and so much competition. I'm looking forward to seeing who can pull it off here tonight.
It definitely is going to be an interesting one. Couple other drivers to note for inside that top 10. Joshua Johnson, you mentioned him. He doesn't really show his stuff in practice. Kind of a driver that struggles a lot. Currently sitting 10th here with just 15 seconds remaining in qualifying. It looks like nobody else will be on track to post a lap time, and they're definitely going to run out of time even if they try to. Michael Strickland, the rookie, first start here tonight. Looks like he'll be starting 8th. And then Sherwood Williford, he's kind of a sleeper. It's kind of always an up and down kind of graph for him when it comes to every race on the schedule.
You took the word away from my lips. That's exactly what he is. It's kind of a sleeper. So watch for Sherwood to do something maybe tonight.
And here we go. We're getting ready for over 250 here, right in Dover, Delaware. Starting in row number 1, 4th pole of the season. Nathan Bigart alongside his biggest competition so far this season, Richie Coy in the 19 up on the outside. Row number 2, you'll find Jose Acosta, so aggressive, probably the Ross Chastain as you would call him, in FTSR, alongside Lane Allen with a great qualifying effort in row number 2. Row 3, you'll find Jamie Knopf, who's still in the battle in points. He's had a solid season, alongside his LA Motorsports teammate Daniel Simmons in the number 06 machine. Row 4, there we go. We talked about him, Sherwood Williford. Michael Strickland making his FTSR debut tonight, so welcome to the Full Throttle Sim Racing Series, Michael Strickland. Row number 5, Jeff Chandler, last year's Dominator, 191 lap sled, and Brody Joshua Johnson will round out the top 10.
As a matter of fact, we got Chris Beck next on the inside row in the 44 machine. On the outside of him is going to be Brian Bliss, looking to get back on track after a tough Talladega. In row 7, you've got Kyle Milliken in the 42 machine. Kyle's really quick here as well. He's been quick at every track, and you've got TJ Bartell on the outside of him in the number 98. On row 8, you've got the 35 of Ben Tracy, another one of those guys that can kind of show up at the end of the races here, and Chad Lang, not far behind his teammate in the number 4 in row 8. Row 9, you've got the 67 of James Wallace. He's a sneaky one as well, could work his way up through the field as well. And then you've got Ryan Hedrick, a teammate to him, on the outside of row 9. Rounding out row 10, you've got the 7 of Wayne Grossi. Again, I can't say it enough. These guys are good. And the 37 of Brian Dublais is going to start to the outside of him.
Row number 11, you'll find Tony Solari from Furia Motorsports there. After a great run at Talladega, Justin Diltz in that 91 machine to the outside. Row number 12, you will find Jake Euler and James Torrey. And then round out the field in row number 13 for 26 cars, you will have Colton Gum and Alan Crowell. Well, Brody, welcome up here to the booth. This is going to be a really, really fun race. Interesting to see 250 miles here tonight at Dover. Should be an interesting one. The pace car dips down pit road. Nathan Bigart's going to lead him into the Geico restart zone. And here we go. Green flag is out. We're racing from the Monster Mile. And Nathan Bigart gets out to a great lead over Richie Coy. But, Brody, here comes Jose Acosta. He's going to take a look down to the inside of Richie Coy for a second as they head off, too.
And Nathan takes control of the race early on. And it looks like Richie Coy is going to follow in second. Yeah, you got the 24 of Acosta right there, kind of being accosted by Jamie Knopf back there in the 48.
Yeah, Jamie Knopf always been so fast so far this season. Coming into tonight, you look at obviously him up on the board, sitting 4th in points, not really going to be a huge factor unless some sort of miracle were to happen for him. He's made all 10 races, only 6 top 10s for the driver of the 48 machine from LA Motorsports, but he's got 2 race wins. That's the thing that really stands out. He's the only other driver besides Nathan Bigart and his teammate Daniel Simmons that has multi-wins this season with 2, and obviously Nathan having the most with 3. So Jamie Knopf, he likes these kind of styled racetracks. He could be one to sneak up there towards the front of the end of this race.
And if you look at his lines, too, he's running a little bit different line than some of the other guys. He's not really wrapping the bottom. He's kind of letting the car take its head into the corner. Kind of running a little bit higher line, kind of saving the tires maybe a little bit. Doing that diamonding that they were talking about on Sunday. And it may pay off. It may save some tires. But it looks like it's working right now for him. Just kind of riding right now, probably.
And Brody, obviously with the Cup race we saw yesterday at Dover, in the beginning of the race, from my point of view on the front straightaway where I sat by the flag stand, everybody was really running the bottom side of the racetrack. But then the guys in the back, they were trying to obviously put themselves in a better position. They were searching around the racetrack, the middle, the top. It obviously rained over on Saturday night, so it washed all that rubber away. And with this track being pretty much a clean and green racetrack, and as the rubber settles in, do you think we're going to start to see drivers try to go up top?
You could, like I said, I think we see some different drivers doing some different things too. As Richie Coy, looks like he's set a fast lap. He's on the horse. He's not really saving anything. It looks like he's trying to go after our leader, the 01 of Nathan Bigart here, trying to get a point for a lap lead here.
that. And remember, Richie Coy was so strong on Wednesday night, Brody. Obviously, I believe, if I'm correct, he did get some sort of penalty in the pits. I know you could probably obviously clarify that for me here in a second, but he was so fast on Wednesday night, and he just stripped himself pretty much of a great finish. It was a heartbreaker. I'm sure he wants redemption here tonight. Obviously, a New Jersey native, close track to home. He would love to get the victory lane here, especially since that 19's history here at Dover is so rich.
That's right. He is kind of driving a kind of an important car here for sure. Martin Truex doing a great job. Sunday coming home third. He wants to do a little bit better than that. Right now, currently running second, but still hounding our leader, the 01. Looks like these guys are kind of breaking away from the next three. It looks like maybe Acosta, maybe holding up Jamie Knopf a little bit, Daniel. But again, you see these guys running different lines. It could shake out a little bit differently for those guys.
Yeah, and you can see that this pack has pretty much separated themselves from right behind. It looks like Sherwood Williford back to Jeff Chandler. It is about nearly a 2-second gap from Williford to Chandler right now. So those top 8 drivers have pretty much separated themselves from the guys beyond back. But this is the thing about Dover, Birdies. When you come here, this race can usually go 2 ways. You can either have a wreck fest, which we have not seen. We didn't see that on Wednesday night. I doubt we'll see that here tonight with how well these drivers are on the racetrack. But the thing is this race gets so spread out. One of my things that I pinpointed on my note sheet coming into tonight was the fact that we had less than 10 cars on the lead lap last year in the race. And the same thing happened on Wednesday night. It just goes to show you that Dover can really, really get spread out.
It can get really spread out. And I think some of that's kind of what you're seeing here. I think some of these guys may be saving a little bit of tire. I mean, tire wear was a big talk in the garage earlier today about how much this track eats tires, especially in this car, especially the right front. You want to protect the right front. That's your lifeblood. And if you can't protect the right front, you're going to fall through the field really quickly. So it's either take care of it early, as we said, the 57 have kind of a close call on off of turn 2 there next to the wall.
Yeah, really close call for Joshua Johnson. Got right up all against it there, coming off 4, and now he's under fire from TJ Bartell, supporting some new colors this week in that number 98 machine. New paint scheme for him, it looks like. Great looking car. It looks kind of 90s-ish. I really, really like it. And you're doing a great job as well, already up 2 spots from where he started. Joshua Johnson, though, you talk about him, a driver who very well could show his strength later on in this race. He's another one like Sherwood Williford, just can kind of be up and down and be that line graph that goes all over the place during the season, where he'll have a good run, then he won't. Then he'll have 2 good runs, then he'll have a streak of bad luck for 3 straight weeks. Joshua Johnson might have been fast in practice, but right now kind of stalled out outside the top 10.
Yeah, you got some sneaky favorites in here. Like you said, TJ Bartell. It's the guy that kind of he keeps his nose clean and kind of takes care of the car, and he'll show up at the end of the race. If you're not careful, he'll kind of sneak up on you. The same thing with Wayne Grassi. Some of these other guys back here, again, different strategies, and we didn't even talk about the stages. I mean, you may be stage racing at this point too. Richie may be trying to get stage points because he's fighting for a championship. Some of these guys may be out of championship range, so they're thinking long term. They want to kind of take care of their tire, take care of their car.
Looked like Nathan Bigart there may have brushed the wall coming off turn number 2. You saw Richie Coy really close in on him in the 01 machine, almost hit the wall on corner exit. Might have been one of those points. Yeah, figures. He's always kind of getting right up against
I was
the
just
wall.
talking about I was talking about drivers taking care of the car, and here we are, the leaders hanging it out here.
Yeah, and they have pulled away from Jamie Knopf and Daniel Simmons, the 2 LA Motorsport drivers, and Richie is really hounding on Nathan, and I think Richie really likes the way that this car probably drives here at Dover. We know that he's good here. I mean, he's pretty much fast anywhere we go. I mean, come on, it's Richie Coy. He's got victory fuel on the car. That man is determined to go to victory lane here tonight. But again, Nathan Bigart, though, Brody, has been his biggest competition all season long. And if you really think about it, too, in retrospect, Richie Coy hasn't really gotten a win where he actually finished first across the line. Remember, if you date back to Phoenix, Jose Acosta got penalized, got the win stripped away from him, and Richie Coy was awarded the victory after that night. So Richie Coy would love to come out here and straight up beat a driver and finish first across that line.
That's true, and he didn't even lead a single lap in that race. He won the race and didn't lead a single lap because of the circumstances, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, and that's another win that Acosta could have had as well. So you got to look at that as well. I mean, these guys are fat. There's a reason why these guys are running up front. And again, we're getting to lap 35. We got 15 laps to our first stage break. And these guys are going to start kind of racing a little hard, getting a little antsy, and they want to get up there and get their stage points.
If you're Richie Coy right here, obviously, as we're now just about to be 15 laps to go here in this stage, Brody. If you're Richie Coy, what more can you do to try to get around this 01? I know everybody likes going to the bottom, but at the same time, because of that 01 punching that hole through the air, Richie has so much dirty air on the front of his car, and it just creates that thing to get tighter like you see him do there off turn number 4. I mean, what else can he really do at this juncture in the race?
Well, fortunately, I know Richie about as good as anybody else, and I'll tell you the two things he's thinking right now. The first thing is you saw Nathan make a mistake, so you know, okay, I put the pressure on. Maybe he'll make a bigger mistake. Maybe he'll have an issue, So he's going to put pressure on. The second thing he's doing, if you look, he's kind of ducking out of line. He's trying to get in his mirror here at this point. Get him to start looking behind him, and when you're looking behind, you're not looking at where you're going, and that could also cause a mistake.
Saw him there, look down to the inside off turn number 2. Not enough momentum, but this is about the closest we have seen Richie Coy to Nathan Bigart here. Definitely putting the pressure on here. Coming to lap 24, and there he goes again. Nathan Bigart brushes the wall off turn number 4. So Richie Coy really keeping the pressure on the 01 Ford Mustang there. Oh, and Richie just barely touches the apron a little bit. Got a little loose on corner exit, but still, that 19 machine is hooked up fast. And I can already tell you right now, Brody, if this race goes long, and it does go green all the way without any natural cautions, these two are going to be really fun to watch, and who could save that right front?
There is blood in the water. When you see the leader in front of you, you're riding on this bumper, and you see him hit the wall, the first thing is, okay, how can I take advantage of this? How can I pounce? And I'm sure that's what Richie is thinking right now, but you also don't want to jump that cushion and get yourself in trouble as well. So it's just still a long race, so you don't want to put yourself in too much trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself in too much trouble. And actually, Nathan Bigart kind of extending his gap now to Richie Coy. It's about 3 or 4 car lengths between the 01 and the 19 machine. This is about the furthest back we have now seen Richie Coy. In fact, last time around, Bigart was about nearly 2/10 faster than Richie Coy last time around. This time by the 01 posts a .912, Richie Coy a .0. So another tenth slower for Richie Coy compared to Nathan Bigart. So it looks like this car is starting to fall off a little bit. And here's the thing too, Brody, is there's not really a whole lot of saving now, considering the fact that there is less than 10 laps to go in this stage. I think Richie's biggest thing is, okay, just maintain second, don't let Jose get to me. Because again, he wants to come in here, and his whole goal tonight was probably to maximize as many points as he could on Nathan Bigart.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, you may have the tires hot now, and you're like, okay, my chance is kind of gone away. I need to just sit here and ride, take care of the stuff, make sure I get to the end of the stage with decent points, second place. Because, I mean, Jose's not far back there either, and he's starting to kind of cut in on Richie as well. So you got to kind of think about that too. You want to hold on to that second place. And I tell you, one of our biggest movers so far that I've seen on the screen just pop up is Colton Gum. He's up 6 positions in 19th place. It's a good move for him. Everybody else is about 2 or 3 positions up or back, but 6 positions is a pretty good jump.
Yeah, definitely, considering the fact that Dover is so hard to pass. And remember also, Colton Gum received a penalty after last week, and that penalty being put on probation, given a warning due to reckless driving after Talladega. Made a little bit of an infraction, but no harm, no foul. It's Talladega. But he's still out here trying to pass as many cars as he can. Look at the pack up in front of him, though. They're going 2, almost 3 wide. Wayne Grossi trying to put it 3 wide for a second, and he might do it right here. He thinks to the inside, but he'll still stay right behind James Wallace. Gets a little loose entering 3.
It's a hornet's nest, and when they're 2 wide in front of you, there's not much you can really do here in Dover. As you can see, the 57 starting to slip back. He's another guy that started inside the top 10. He's falling well outside the top 10 now to 19th spot. He's kind of struggling right now in tires. Looking forward to that stage break in about 4 laps.
Yeah, that right front is definitely hurting for that number 57 machine of Joshua Johnson right now. Just lost about 3 spots in less than a lap, and there goes Brian Dublé to the inside of him, picking up his first spot of the race. There's Johnson again, gets really tight and then loose off corner exit. He'll fall back, and the 37 machine clears him. That would be for the 19th spot. So the 57 machine started in 10th. He is already outside the top 10. Almost going to fall out of the top 20 here if Ryan Hedrick gets to him, who's about a second back. Only a handful of laps to go in the stage here. Jose Acosta has a chance to try to catch Richie Coy, but it might be too little too late there for second. But again, look at Nathan Bigart, though, Brody. So strong, comes out here, sits on the pole. So far, he's led every lap, and he's only got 2 more laps to go.
It looks like typical 01 out here. This is kind of what he does, man. He's kind of putting a whooping on the field right now. I will say Richie looked like he had something for him early. May have burned his stuff up a little too early, but tire wear will get better the longer we go here in the race. So that could kind of come back to Richie. And who knows? It looks like it's really tough to pass out there. So track position is going to be key. These pit stops coming up are going to be extremely important. And track position is going to win you this race, I believe.
It definitely will, and obviously we mentioned those guys obviously having less than 10 cars on the lead lap by the end of this race. We'll see what that holds here at the end of stage 3, but off turn number 4, for the 8th time this season, Nathan Bigart's going to pick up a stage win. He'll win stage number 1. Second will go to Richie Coy. Jose Acosta just gets there but can't pass him. He'll come home 3rd. Daniel Simmons 4th. Jamie Knopp 5th, Jeff Chandler 6th, Michael Strickland in his debut up 1 spot from where he started. He finished 7th in stage number 1. Lane out, TJ Bartel, and Kyle Milliken up inside the top 10. So Brody, already we're starting to see some drivers who look like they can climb their way up through the field, but again, you mentioned that track position, these pit stops, going to be a big thing here once they come down pit road.
It's going to be huge for sure, and we'll see what these guys kind of do with that. And again, TJ Bartel, you mentioned him. He climbed up 5 spots to get into 9th place for stage 1, so he's another one that's kind of made some noise, made some ground in this first stage. We'll see if he can continue his march towards the front as we get through this first stage break.
And while they come down to the service of their pit crews, like always, we're going to step aside real quick, take a quick break, and we'll be right back for the start of stage number 2 here from the Monster Mile. Welcome back for stage number 2 here. Getting ready to go at Dover Motor Speedway. And look in the bottom left, battle at Boot Hill. Find out July 26th and 27th for the factory stocks over there on Race On. Should be an interesting one. And Race On, obviously, transitioning not only from just Texas, but also dirt. They're going all over the place now. Charles, bring you in here for a minute. I know I always do from time to time, but how has it been over there? What has it been like so far this season? I know we've talked about it, but man, you guys are really expanding, doing a great job. Lots of great things for you guys over at Race On.
Yeah, lots of expanding, and we'll go back 14 days, 2 weeks. How's it been? Wet, very wet. But yeah, it's been good, expanding, and looking forward to producing comp cams this weekend / USMTS / who knows what. With the rain going on, we don't know what we're doing. I do know I get to produce this one tonight and then Wednesday, and I always say it's never a dull moment with this series. That's why we like them so much. And they play one-handed games.
Yeah, it definitely is here. And obviously, and Brody, I tell you what, man, as a race fan, or if you're a race car driver, or no matter what, rain is like your worst nightmare. That's what you pray for every weekend that doesn't show up at the racetrack.
Absolutely, yeah, that's for sure. The other thing I think some of these guys are praying for is maybe the 01 missteps here or had some sort of issue, because so far he's had this thing in hand for sure. He had a great pit stop, come back out in the lead. Looks like he's going to lead him off no problem. So I don't know. Maybe somebody could do something with him this round.
Yeah, we're going to find out here for the start of Stage 2. And remember, the stage break will be after lap number 75 is complete. So we're getting ready for the start here of Stage number 2. Big Art and Coy, the same front row you saw at the beginning of Stage number 1, will be the same here for the start of Stage number 2. Acosta, Canop, Chandler, Simmons, Strickland, Bartel, Allen, Milliken, your top 10. Coming to the Geico restart zone. And here we go. Barney the flagman waves that green flag, and Richie Coy gets a great start on Nathan Bigart. Maybe a little bit of a tire spin or a jump out of the 19, but they're door handle to door handle. But just like that, Brody, the 01 gets back in front off turn 2. Oh!
Yeah, wow, that was a move right there. I'm not sure if that was a block or if he got loose or what, but he sure had a moment there, the 19. Yeah, he had a great restart, but shot out of a cannon, and we saw that on Sunday as well, that the drivers wanted the outside. I wonder if Nathan may be thinking about that on the next restart. Maybe he wants to try the outside.
Yeah, I know from experience here from this past week running the few races that I did, the outside was always a place that I really wanted to restart. I felt like I could get a better launch through the restart zone rather than the bottom, because Brody, another thing that's really, I don't think, talked about as much is because of those little humps, those hills going into 1, coming out of 2, into 3, and into 4. This track has such weird corner entry. It's like you're going, and then all of a sudden you just sink down into the corner. Next thing you know, you're coming off turn number 3. This is a perfect cam here as we ride on board with the 24 of Jose Acosta, where you come off this corner, you're starting to go uphill, and that outside lane kind of flattens out a little bit more than that bottom lane. So it is really hard to restart here. That's why I think we saw on Sunday and also during official week, lots of guys were choosing that outside on the restarts.
Yeah, you can really get a good jump on the outside if you can time it just right. There's a lot of grip up there. The inside's maybe not as clean versus the outside groove because everybody runs right around the outside. But listen, if I was better at this track, it would be a blast, because it is. It's like a roller coaster ride. You sweep down into the corner. You kind of bottom out from a G-point point of view, and then you come out of the corner. You're kind of going uphill over a hill. It's like a roller coaster ride every lap, up and down, and it's a lot of fun when the car handles right, but it can be a pain if you don't have it right.
Roller coaster ride over 160 miles an hour. I don't think many people could say that, and obviously these drivers putting on one heck of a show so far here tonight. Nathan Bigart still the man leading, but Richie Coy, we know how good his short run was. Guess what? Last time around, 22.891, fastest lap of the race for the number 19 machine, the New Jersey native, trying to get it done here in Delaware tonight. And he's starting to close the gap up a little bit on Nathan Bigart, but I mean, Brody, from what he learned in stage number 1, what do you think Richie Coy is thinking inside that Victory Fuel Ford Mustang Dark Horse to try to make sure that he could compete and hang with Bigart for this completion of stage 2?
Yeah, it looks like the 24 may have gotten the wall a little bit off 4 there, maybe just scruffed the wall there as we were talking, but yeah, I really don't know, because I thought he had the perfect plan. He got a great restart as we got a battle for 3rd there, I believe. No, it's the 42. There goes the 42 for 7th place. TJ starting lose some ground, but probably saving some tires. And now you got the 35 of Ben Tracy on the outside of him. But yeah, I mean, I thought he had a good plan there. He had a good restart to take off there. He almost got clear, but then he had that issue off too that kind of set him back. I don't know if he's going to have to regroup and think of something else to do there.
Well, he's still closing that gap on Nathan Bigard. It is now nearly 0.2 of a second. He was faster than Nate by almost 0.2 last time around. This time by at the line. You see Ben Tracy, I believe, smacked the wall on corner exit. Richie Coy was faster than Nathan Bigard by about 0.1 last time around. Great battle going on here, though, with TJ Bartel, Ben Tracy. There's Kyle Milliken looking underneath last year's Dover winner to the inside of him entering turn number 3.
Yeah, the 42, if you watch what he did in 1 and 2 a lap ago, he really did that dominating just right. He drove hard into the corner, way up the track. He's up the track again right there. So I'm seeing some of these guys do that. You drive down the track and straighten that exit off, and if you're loose off the corner, it kind of mitigates that problem for you there. So looks like it's really working out for him, but he's got to watch those tires. I've said it so much tonight that we're only 50 laps in. But tires are king here, so he's going to have to take care of these tires or get a caution to kind of capitalize on the positions that he's able to gain here. And it looks like 31's going backwards.
Yeah, Jeff Chandler, remember last year's winner from Dover, like we mentioned, led the race high 191 out of those 200 laps, I believe, or 250 laps 1 year ago. Did so well in that 31 machine, and he was absolutely outstanding. Got that win last year, but that's the thing that Kyle Milliken's doing as we talk about him again. Up 7 spots. Ben Tracy as well. And Brody, you mentioned Ben Tracy about him being a sleeper. This guy, in my opinion, has been probably the biggest improvement from last year into this year. Ben Tracy is one of those guys we saw mid to back half of the field. Now this guy is competing for top 10s every week. It's just only if he could just close it out.
I think he's kind of gotten his head around this stuff a little bit better. I can tell you personally, I've raced against him a lot in the late models, and he's really improved there as well. So I think he's starting to get his head around some of his stuff. He's probably drawing off some of his teammates, Jamie Knopf, Daniel Simmons, starting to really put it together. And you're right, he's really starting to head towards the front. He's one of those guys, he may not qualify the best, but he starts inching his way forward just like some of these other guys have. And you'll find him in the top 5 or battling for the lead towards the end of the race. And yeah, he's done a great job.
Yeah, he definitely has, obviously. And here's a guy who's been doing an exceptional job tonight. This is the farthest back we've seen him so far, and that's Michael Strickland, who has been up inside the top 10 all night long in that number 9 Duracell Ford Mustang Dark Horse machine, looking on Lane Allen for the 9th position to get back up closer to the front at least, or closer to the top 5 rather. He'll look to the outside on corner exit, gets a good run, might be able to get down to the bottom. But Brody, I think there's a few guys who really, over the last year and a half now, calling you guys for FTSR with Nerditudes and LSRTV. I mean, it is very rare for most guys to come in here and set the world on fire and have those good runs. Not toot my own horn, obviously. Second Cup start 1 week ago, took that W. You know what I'm saying? But it's really rare for these drivers to come through, obviously, and really perform well, especially with the stout competition here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gave myself a headache rolling my eyes, but you're right. The stiff competition here for sure is a real challenge for these guys. It's a real challenge for these guys. And, they come in here and they think, I've won these races in official this week and I've done so well. And then they come in here and it's like, it's really tough to perform here. But one thing, I can't stress this enough, track position. It was the buzzword in the garage, everybody talking about the track position. As a matter of fact, Jeff Chandler said that was the single most important thing, is to have position on the track. You've got to be in the top 3 really to have a shot here. And if you ever lose that track position, if you make a mistake, like we saw Richie do, if you make a mistake and lose 3 or 4 positions, it's extremely hard to make that up and try to save your tires to make it to the end of the run.
I tell you what, too, and here's the thing that I'm looking at, is Ben Tracy and Kyle Milliken. You talked about that diamond effect that not just Kyle, but also the 35 was doing for a few laps as well. You see Lane Allen, he's getting past right now from Michael Strickland inside the top 10. But that 42 and 35, and even Colton Gum, I know he's back in 15, up 10 spots, but it's amazing to me that some of these guys have been able to pass so many cars, like Ben Tracy, who's picked off 9 positions from where he started. And that's no thing here at Dover, man. This is one of the hardest tracks to pass that we probably go to on iRacing when it comes to racing stock cars. He is doing a really good job. I tell you what, if this race comes down possibly to a short run, and that 35 could be up inside the top 5 to top 4, he really could be a threat tonight.
The 35 and the 42 as well, man. They had great takeoff speed. You see Jeff trying to get back around the 42 at this point. It looks like the 42 may have, like we were talking about, may have used those tires trying to make that ground up. It's got to be so frustrating, though, to try to make up ground, to try to hold your position even, and save tires when other guys are running hard. And the thing that's going to happen is if you catch that untimely caution, if the Ford is able to make up 4 positions and the caution come out, that is a huge gain on the track, and you could see him maybe roll that into a really great finish. So it's timing, it's management, it's track position. There's so much going on that these drivers have to manage here.
Definitely, for sure. And here's a good battle going on for 4th. Here comes Daniel Simmons. Thought about taking a peek to the inside, and Jose Acosta did Jose Acosta things, shut the door on him entering turn number 3. And here goes Simmons again. Gets a great exit off turn 2. He'll head down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll pick up that spot, slide up, and Jose Acosta tries to do a little bit of a diamond, but a little bit harder to do here at Dover. He'll set back to 5th now.
Yeah, so Simmons up to 4th. Jamie Knopf, we missed that, but Jamie Knopf's actually up to 3rd. He's starting to run down Richie Coy as well, so we might have a new challenger up front as well here. I mean, you see Richie Coy falling into his graphs here. We don't have far into lap 75. We only have about 9 laps, so I don't know if he's going to try to get it done before then, but he's one of the guys that kind of marched his way towards the front. He's steadily picked up positions, and he's going to be a threat before this is all over with.
Yeah, definitely could be here. And you see Jamie Knopf closing the gap on Richie Coy, who, again, at this portion of the run, just like we saw at the end of Stage 1, kind of fell off to Nathan Bigart, fell back by a little over a second, I believe it was now, and Jamie has been able to catch Richie. He'll head down to the top side, or head up to the top side, rather. He'll try this diamond effect here like Kyle Milliken is doing. And, Brody, that's the thing, too, about different lines is some drivers can perform different lanes much better than others. Now, for Kyle Milliken, he's probably a driver who knows what he's doing when he runs that top diamond effect. Jamie Knopf, I'm not seeing him nearly pull it off as well as Jamie Knopf. But as I say that, Knopf now looking to the inside here on Richie Coy entering 1 and 2.
I'll tell you, that's one thing, he was candid with me at one point and told me that's one thing he struggles with is moving around on the track. Moving up the track, finding grip in different places of the track. And it looks like Jamie is kind of capitalizing on that. It looks like Richie's car doesn't really perform that well on the high side, so he's kind of locked down to the high side, whereas the 48 machine is able to kind of move around. And again, he drives down the track, straightens off the exit, and gets a good run off the corner.
Yeah, he just went down to the bottom of the racetrack there. Might have got a little loose off the corner, or at least tried to get a run. Wasn't what he hoped for. He'll get right up on the safer barrier, entering 3 this time by. Try to close the gap to Richie Coy. Nothing gained right there for the 48 machine. He'll go back to the top shelf now, entering 1 and 2. Richie Coy traveling in the middle of the racetrack there, exiting the corner, just trying again. Like we mentioned, Brody, Richie Coy does not want to lose positions. Every position matters for this 19 machine if he wants to keep Nathan Bigart at bay in the points.
And I think the 48 maybe searched around trying some things. He's got a good gap to 5th place Acosta at this point, or Simmons actually in 4th place at this point. So he's just moving around trying to see what he can use. Maybe he can use the high line. You saw him go way high. I think he kind of missed the groove there, but he's just trying different lines to see what would work, maybe what he could use at a later point to maybe try to get a position. Even if he doesn't get this position, he's learning all the time. And again, you see some of these cars like the 48, like the 42 of Milliken, some of these other guys, the 35, they're able to move up the track and use different parts of the track. And that's going to be very important as these tires start to wear. You're going to have to kind of move around. Even if we get into lap traffic, that's going to be vital.
Yeah, and lap traffic was definitely a big talk of the town yesterday at Dover in the Cup Series race really plagued Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, trying to close the gaps and maintain those gaps on one another. And obviously at the end of the race, it was Denny Hamlin utilizing that quote-unquote air blocking maneuver on the 5 machine, which has definitely been a big talk here at tracks that are about 1.5 miles to under a mile or so. But 1 lap to go here on the stage.
Something else I noticed too. Well, we got from last week, from Sunday, you got 2 Fords in the top 10. You got first and second, the rest are Chevys. So again, something else that's kind of playing out. They're doing good, but they're the only 2.
Well, I tell you what, Nathan Bigart might as well go and drive for Ford, because Ryan Blaney's carried them, and Nathan Bigart's going to carry himself to another stage win on the year, 9 to make it for the driver of the 01 machine. Richie Coy will hold off Jamie Knopf for second. Knopf will finish third. Simmons fourth, Acosta fifth in their top 5. Jeff Chandler sixth. Ben Tracy, TJ Bartel, Kyle Milliken, Michael Strickland, your top 10. So I think, Brody, so far from the first 2 stages, from when we last talked about our post-stage discussion, it's still just the 01. I mean, what else can you say? Something is going to happen to this guy. Have a bad pit stop on the long green flag run, get up into the wall, something in order to beat that 01 here tonight.
And unfortunately, we don't see him make many mistakes, so it's going to have to be a forced error. We did see him kind of get the wall a couple times, or at least on our screen looked like he got the wall a couple times. So that could kind of be something to watch as we go forward.
For sure. While these guys come down to the service of their pit crews, as always, we're going to step aside, take a quick break. We'll be right back for the final stage here from the Monster Mile.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. Here at Hercules Foundation Repair, we are here to help with our free in-home evaluations and personal repair plans. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection.
Welcome back to the Dover Motor Speedway here, the Monster Mile, the Concrete Canyon. Need be, obviously, Nathan Bigart picking up stage numbers 1 and 2, but something he did not pick up was the battle off pit road. Brody, Richie Coy, going to be your new race leader when we go back green.
Yeah, I went back and looked at it, and really what it just looks like, sometimes everybody says you want the first pit stall off pit road. You want to have that first stall, and you can just roll across the line. Well, sometimes you don't have the momentum that some of these guys from behind you do. It's like Richie Coy launched about the same time as the 01, but he was carrying more speed and was able to kind of just edge him out coming off pit road. This could be huge. I mean, he could have a good restart here, kind of get away. They put that 01 in dirty air, and we'll see how he works from behind.
Air blocking. You might have to do a little bit of Denny Hamlin in here tonight. But obviously, here's the thing that's going to be interesting to see on this restart, Brody, is like you said, the 19's got to get out to a good lead. Now, if he chooses the bottom, which is pretty much where he hasn't started tonight, Nathan Bigart hasn't started either on the outside as well. So 2 of these guys are going to be starting in 2 different lanes that they're not used to. So if Richie can get out there, the question's going to be is what can he do from what he learned in stages 1 and 2? He's put himself in a different spot, but he's going to have to save that right front tire. Nathan Bigart, he's going to have to push a little harder because he hasn't been in the spot all night.
Yeah, we saw that outside line really work well for Richie Coy. I'll be interested to see if the 19 does choose the outside. But if you don't get it pulled off and get a good restart, it kind of puts you in a bad spot on the entry of turn 1. Looks like he is going to choose the inside. And again, we'll see what kind of launch he can get we'll see if the 01 can kind of mimic what the 19 did to him early on in the race.
Yeah, and it should be interesting here to say the least for this restart. Remember, restarting here on lap 81 of 200, so that will leave us with 120 laps to go here at Dover, and it should be a good one for sure. Remember, Nathan Bigart has led pretty much flag to flag up until coming off pit road. Then it was Richie Coy. So Nathan Bigart, winner of stages 1 and 2, he'll be restarting for the first time, not in the first position. Jamie Knopf, Daniel Simmons from LA Motorsports will round out row number 2. Jose Acosta, Jeff Chandler, Bartel, Tracy, Strickland, Kyle Milliken will be your top 10. So this is going to be interesting to see. Will Richie Coy be able to get the restart that he oh so desperately needs if he wants to defend the hard charging, but hasn't really had to do much hard charging tonight? It's been smooth sailing for the driver of the number 01 machine, now being put in a position that he's not very familiar with here at the Monster Mile. What's going to happen? Pace car is off. They fire out of the Geico restart zone, and Richie Coy gets a great launch on Nathan Bigart, but misses a shift, I think, entering turn number 1, and now opens up the door big time for the 01 up on the top shelf, exiting 2.
That is not what he needed. He needed to get a good clean start. Oh, the 01 gets out of shape coming off too. That was a big moment for him as well. He's going to lose second place at least, maybe third place. As these guys kind of foul around him, that's going to put him back to fourth. He's going to have some traffic to deal with now.
Big moment for the driver of the 01 machine, and we've talked about how dirty air and track position have meant everything all night long. He goes from second to first, back to fourth, off turn number 2, 1 lap ago, and now he's under fire from Daniel Simmons, who has also been strong all night long as well, with TJ Bartel hunting him down behind him. This 01 machine, Brody's got to lock in if he wants to get back to that race lead.
He does, and remember though, these guys know they've got to go through a green flag pit stop now. There's no more stage breaks, and it's been such a clean race. This race could come down to one pit stop. Not making a mistake coming to pit road. You know, we were talking about Richie Coy making his mistake in the truck series. Ends up hitting the barrels. I think coming into the pit road, that one vital mistake was the end of his run on Wednesday. So you've got to get it right. This is one of the toughest pit roads to get onto. That was very close, but one of the toughest pit roads to get onto at speed. And these guys are going to have to figure it out.
Definitely one of the toughest pit roads in probably NASCAR competition for sure, no doubt about it. You go from the banking that has so much grip on that bottom side to this transition with absolutely no banking down onto pit road, and you got to try and pray for your life to not hit those water or sand barrels on the outside of the pit road wall. So it should be interesting. There's that pit road commitment line, and remember, the commitment line isn't until that blue cone just shy of the Sunoco Racing Fuel sign entering pit road. But Brody, that's the thing we talk about too, this race being a strung out long green flag type of run race. We saw that on Wednesday night, and it's happening here tonight. When do you expect these guys to probably come down pit road with these larger fuel cells, and how they can go the longer distance compared to those trucks?
Well, you would probably want to split it in half, about 60 laps. Such a great job, but this clean racing again is going to put we see the 35, I think, had an issue on the backstretch.
Yeah, Ben Tracy way out of shape there off turn number 2, loses multiple positions. And remember, we were just praising him in stage number 2 for climbing up through the ranks, and now he has found himself outside the top 15. Opens up the door for Chris Beck, who has pretty much hung around that top 20 position all night long. That's for 17th, while meanwhile Ben Tracy is in 16th, and it's been very interesting to say the least here. And Brody, I cannot stress enough with how much of a track this is either a love or hate relationship for a driver. I know personally myself, I love it. It might be one of my home tracks, but I just always had a knack for it. I really like it. It's fun to drive. Other drivers, you just hate it. You can't figure it out. You feel either too slow, too fast, too tight, too loose. I feel like there's no perfect combination unless you love Miles and Miles loves you back.
I can tell you from experience, so Jason, I've never been too fast, but I've never been fast here either. I've struggled here most of my career on iRacing. I just never have gotten a grasp of this track. It's so tough with the concrete surface and the fast speeds, and we talked about the ups and downs of the entries and exits of the corner. is a challenging track to get a hold of. And if your setup's not just right, you'll find the wall or you'll find the inside wall. Again, this being a self-cleaning track, it makes it extremely tough. When you get loose, you're headed for that inside wall.
Yeah, you're definitely headed for that inside wall. And this is a self-cleaning racetrack where basically everything that goes up must come down. We saw that happen yesterday in the Cup Series race when Bubba Wallace got loose, went around off turn number 2, collected several championship and race-winning contenders like William Byron, obviously involved in pretty much, I believe, was his first DNF all season long in that 24 machine. But these guys, like you mentioned, Brody, that Hornet's Nest, look at this move. James Wallace threads the needle, gets down to the bottom, but has to cut off Wayne Grossi in the process. He'll luck underneath the 14 Bass Pro Shops machine of Lane Allen off turn number 4, while Grossi gets loose and tries to close the gap back. He'll put it 3 wide almost into 1.
He's trying his best, and it is a Hornet's Nest. These guys are racing hard back here. But while we were watching all this, guys, we've got a new leader. Jamie Knopf has taken the lead from the set 19 of Richie Coy and has kind of checked out on him. He's got a half a second lead. So, again, talk about Jamie Knopf coming through the field. I mean, he's now taking the lead. So we saw he had kind of a faster car than Richie there at the end of the run. Now he's got the track position. We were talking about it. This guy could be a real challenge, especially to the 01. The 01's still stuck in 4th right now.
Yeah, trying to get a replay here if we could see possibly the race for the lead here. Charles will find it in just a second, but now he has pulled out to over a 7/10 of a second gap on Richie Coy. And here's the thing, Brody, at this point in the race, when we've seen those first 2 stages, this is when Richie Coy starts to struggle. He's really good in that first quarter of the stage, but then once you get to that middle portion, he starts to fade away, and the car just seems to get tighter and tighter and tighter.
It almost makes me wonder if he maybe had a moment. Is that a little damage on the right front of the car? I can't really tell. But it's almost like he had a moment because that was a quick change from being the leader to being half a second down. So he may have even had a moment there and maybe nursing something. He's 18th back now.
Yeah, he looks like he could be struggling big time. You see him coasting big time through 1 and 2, trying to diamond, but just can't exactly do it properly from that bottom lane. And now he has fallen back to what's going to be about a second here once they probably come off the corner with how much Richie Coy is struggling. He's about almost a 10th of a second slower than Jamie Knopf last time around. You see the 19 get right up inside the safer barrier, and he could see those foam blocks pretty much because, you know, iRacing, I guess. But 1 second back, Richie Coy is now to Jamie Knopf. And now this opens up the door as well here, Brody, for Jose Acosta. He is only 5/10 back from Richie Coy. He might be able to try to close the gap because we know how aggressive this 24 can be.
Hey, he's been sneaky tonight. He's been known to kind of sneak up here and be a threat here at the end. He's definitely got the speed. He's kind of hung around the top 5 all night, top 3 really all night. Kind of had the speed, but I will say that it looked like the 48 and the 06 had a little bit better long run speed on the late run there on the last stage. So the 24's got to figure out that long run speed if he wants to be a threat here. But again, I was talking about damage. I can't really tell the damage with the 19 because of the way the fenders are on the Ford. So it may just be the shark fin thing they got going on.
Yeah, that shark fin that really hasn't done a whole lot, surprisingly, for them so far this year. I was thinking that it was going to be a little better for them, obviously, but the 19's still struggling in that number 19 machine. So our producer is saying that Charles Wooten from the booth saying that he might have a little bit of right front damage. So we'll have to see if maybe we can get an angle at that at some point here for the 19. But right now, though, Brody, he's starting to close in a little bit more on Jamie Knopf. He's gained about almost 2/10 on him these last couple laps. This 19 machine coming to life, and it doesn't look like there's really any damage that I could see there on that right front.
Yeah, he may have settled down a little bit here, got back in his groove. Looked like he struggled for a few laps and then kind of got back in his groove. Yeah, he's starting to close it up just a little bit, just inching a little by little bit. I'm telling you, he probably sees the 24 coming behind him, and probably he's like, I need to make some hay because here he comes. Yeah, it's hard to tell, but again, these guys have to think about that pit stop coming up. I'm saying probably a lap 120 to 130 would be my guess of when you start seeing some of these guys pit. Maybe a little bit later than that.
Yeah, for sure, and it should be interesting to see when we do have those green flag pit stops here. Just under 100 laps to go. We're just a little past halfway here on lap 105, 106 this time by at the line. 95 laps remaining from the Monster Mile here today in Dover, Delaware. Jose Acosta still trying to close the gap, and on Richie Coy, he's back by still 0.5 of a second. But look at Nathan Bigart here. Brody. He's pretty much the exact same speed as these top three, running similar lap times. Out of these drivers, he wasn't the fastest last time around. Richie was about 300ths or 3/1000ths faster last time around. It just goes to show you that once you're in that dirty air, even if you've been the fastest car all night long, it is so difficult to try to get in that rhythm.
That matches up perfectly to what the guys are saying about, being in traffic and having to be in the top three, it being so important. That's exactly what we're seeing. I mean, the 01 stuck back there in fourth, really hasn't made any moves back towards the front. I mean, he was extremely strong in the first two stages. He was kind of coming through, he kind of lengthened the gap on second place in both of those stages, and now here he's stuck in fourth and really can't go anywhere. He's losing time to the 48 because he's in traffic. And again, that's just a killer with this car.
And here's a question I might ask you, Brody, is because Nathan Bigart is now falling back to that fourth place position, and he's not really gaining any time, he's not gaining any positions, because, I mean, considering he's in the top five, there's not many cars to pass. But those three cars in front of him are all from Jamie Knopf back to Nathan, or about 1.25 seconds, all bunched up together from the 01 to the 48 machine. If you're Nathan Bigart, when you do approach those green flag pit stops, do you try to undercut it, even though it might not be the best strategy on the long run?
Well, you've got to do something. You either run long or run short. You've got to do something to get that track position back, because we're seeing right now clearly where you're running is not going to be good enough to really make a move. As speaking of making moves, we just saw the 10 of Colton Gum move into the top 10. He's so deep in the field. He's made 15 positions. He started in 25th and is up to 10th. So it's a great. You talking about cars working well? That car's working well. That car's getting through the pack like it needs to be.
Yeah, it definitely is. Colton Gum's up 15 positions from where he started, back around that 25th position. And he has done such a fantastic, stellar job in the Gums Automotive machine here tonight, trying to close the gap on Kyle Milliken. Here's a driver coming to pit road who we haven't mentioned all night long, Tony Solari, coming down pit road, taking 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. Wonder what maybe happened to the driver of the number 11 machine.
I don't know. I don't know if it's scheduled or unscheduled. We'll see if he takes off here when he gets his left sides. And no, so he may be fixing damage. Maybe had an issue on the track.
And here comes Richie Coy closing this gap. Yeah, we got a race going on here for the lead. This is probably the tightest we have seen the top 4 to top 5 all night long. And here comes Richie. He is making a move down to the bottom. This 19 machine has come to life here in this middle part of the run here. To the inside of Jamie Knopf. He goes off turn number 4. Knopf gets a little loose on exit. Richie Coy is going to have the preferred line on the bottom. But we have seen this top tonight here, Brody. If you go from that top and cut down a little bit, get so much momentum off the corner. Richie Coy almost clears the 48, opens up the door for Acosta. He's coming up in third here, trying to get to the bottom.
I was about to say, it's not just these two. The 24's entered the picture, and as well, look, don't look now. Here's the 01. Right on the back bumper. It looks like the 48's just completely dropped off here. The 06 is right here as well. Everything's closed up really quickly here. You start to see these tires start to kind of fall off, and you start to see the guys who have a better long-run car.
Yeah, Jamie was about 6/10, almost 7/10 of a second slower than Nate Bigart 1 lap ago. And there goes his teammate Daniel Simmons, who has been posting blistering fast lap times compared to the rest of these guys up inside the top 5, and now they are all under a blanket. You saw Bigart get past those two, and in fact got past Daniel Simmons, so he's moved up to third. Jose Acosta has shifted himself up into the second position here, heading into turn number 3, and now this is where you just got to find that fine line that you're used to running. You see Nate Bigart, he's been running the bottom most of the night. Now he's searching around, trying to find grip and see what he can do to get past those two up in the front of this field.
Yeah, you got the top 5 under a blanket here, man. I didn't expect this. I expected somebody to kind of take off and just kind of leave the 4 because of the dirty air and the traffic and everything. But if you got all 5 of these guys right here together, and this is going to give you a headache, because now you're thinking, okay, when do I pit? You don't want to get You don't want to get undercut. You don't want to have a guy come in early, get some fresh tires, and really pull out on you. But you also don't want to come in too early and be suffering on those old tires later in the run. So now the games begin. Now you're watching. If you're Richie Coy, you're watching the mirror, saying, "Okay, who's coming?" You see the 01 starting to take second place. He's starting to work his way back to the front. I kind of counted him out too early. Looks like he's going to have the position on the 24 going into turn 1. Maybe be able to complete this pass off of turn 2.
Yeah, works down to the inside here of Jose Acosta, but Jose gets to that outside lane, almost makes contact with the 01 on corner exit. He'll be able to clear Big Art entering turn number 3, and this is what Richie Coy needs. He wants these guys to battle side by side, race hard, because that means he can save the tires just a little bit more than they can. And obviously, while they battle, when they're side by side, they just suck each other back pretty much because of them being this way. Look at the aggressive block by Jose Acosta. Chops off the air from the 01 machine, and it does cost him. Here comes Daniel Simmons. He'll work to the bottom, entering 3 this time.
And the 06 is probably the fastest of these top 5 that I've seen so far. He's starting to make his move towards the front as well. The 01's a little more strategic in the way he kind of goes about it, but the 06 is starting to charge towards the front. And don't look now, but the 24 is starting to put pressure on the 19 as well. This is getting good, man. I didn't expect to see this kind of racing here, really, because I thought some of the Aaron issues might have played a factor here. Maybe we see somebody take off weight, like we saw the 01 do early on. But these guys are on top of each other, and this is some great racing. I'm sure these guys are having a ton of fun.
Yeah, they're definitely probably having a ton of fun out there. Others probably not so much, but for these top 5, they have done an exceptional job. Richie Coy back to Jamie Knopf in 5th, only separated by about a second. So within the top 5, everybody is within a second of each other, and it's been awesome to see here as Acosta works onto the outside of Richie Coy on corner exit, tries to sneak a peek down to the bottom side, not able to do it. He'll tuck back in line while Simmons shuffles up to the top side here, while Richie Coy takes away the air from Jose Acosta on corner exit, opens up the door for Daniel Simmons. He'll work right behind and go to the top shelf again, entering 3.
This is interesting. You guys watching this, just watch the different lines they're using. I think Jose's trying to pick a line that Richie's not running. Richie's moving around, maybe not air blocking, but just trying different lanes, trying to find speed to stay out front. And then you got the 06 trying to find, okay, where do I go? If the 2 guys in front of me are running 2 different lanes, what options do I have? And then you got the 01 back here thinking, okay, if I can pounce, if they make a mistake, if the 06 gets airtight, what can I do? This is some great racing, and these guys are putting on a show. They're doing, we see the 06 almost, I don't know if he got the wall or almost got the wall off turn 4, but that shows that these guys are on the edge and pushing their car to the limit.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing them to the limits here for sure as we're approaching now 75 laps to go, this time by at the line, and that pit window will be opening up pretty soon here. Richie Coy still able to hold this race lead, loves what he's seeing behind him, but Jose Acosta still keeping the pressure. Simmons again works up to the middle side, this time entering 1 and 2. Here's your Virginia811.com race summary. 2 cautions for both stages of the completion of those ones, 6 caution laps in total, 7 lead changes here tonight, but Richie Coy being the man out front. Look at Daniel Simmons gets, again, another good run off these corners, but I cannot stress enough, Brody, when it comes to this series, if there's anybody who I think is probably the most aggressive in this field, it's this 24 for sure, week in and week out.
It is. I mean, he is, and it's paid off for him in several instances as well. He's able to push that car a little bit harder than some of the other guys, maybe push his competitors into a mistake. And it's worked out for him on several occasions. Got a couple of wins. He got turned!
Acosta goes around off the front bumper of Daniel Simmons, starts to slide down the racetrack, and he'll come to a stop into turn number 1. Thankfully, nobody else hitting him. Milliken has to go all the way to the safer barrier. So does the number 10. And Acosta trying to figure out what time is the best for him to get going. And here's the ATVO replay, and off turn number 4, Brody, you saw it all unfold.
Yeah, it looks like the 06 kind of gets up close to him. It looks like the 01's right on him too, and he just kind of makes a slight contact, but it doesn't take much. And yeah, the 48 almost got collected in that. He's probably got some damage. I think he hit the wall.
He did. Jamie Knopf had to avoid them, did a great job doing so, but at the cost of some of the sheet metal on the right side, obviously, with that carbon composite body. interesting for him to be able to get to the outside. But look at Richie Coy, really backs up his exit, and here they come down the front straightaway. We talk about the 06 just getting a little too close for comfort. Unfortunately, a rookie mistake for the driver of the 06 machine, but the 24 doesn't really get too much damage. But we all know that's probably race ending for the 24 machine, not literally but figuratively, just because of this track being so hard to pass at.
Yeah, I don't think the damage is a big deal for him. You see the 14 barely sneak by there at the end. I don't think the damage to the 24 is the concern. I don't think he's probably got very minimal damage because he just barely hit the wall after spinning. But you're right, all that track position he lost. He's going to be in the back of the field now. He's going to have to work his way through traffic. This is, I mean, unless he pulls some strategy, this is pretty much his night. His chances to win are out the window just from that one mistake, unfortunately.
Race off pit road. Looks like it's tight, but Richie Coy will win the battle off pit road. We'll step aside for a quick break, and we'll be right back for the restart here in Stage 3.
10 years of speed. 10 years of stories. For the past 10 years, we've been more than just spectators. We've been the heartbeat of local racing, growing alongside the tracks, drivers, and fans who make it all possible. From the dusty turns to the checkered flags, we've shared every triumph and every challenge, making memories that last a lifetime. As we mark this milestone, we're not just looking back, we're revving up for the future. We are expanding, bringing you even more racing, more coverage, and more ways to connect with the adrenaline-fueled world we love. Our commitment to the local racing community is unwavering, and the next chapter promises to be our most exciting yet.
Welcome back for the resumption of stage number 3 here at Dover Motor Speedway. Just wrapping up our first natural caution of the evening after Jose Acosta went around off the front bumper of Daniel Simmons down the front straightaway entering turn number 1. Not a significant amount of damage to the 24 machine. It's definitely enough that's probably going to hinder him enough to not really make his way back up towards the front. Nathan Bigart here on the inside. Richie Coy chooses the top side for the restart, this time by. This should be an interesting one here. Will we have any more cautions? What will we see? Lap 133 is about to be out here as the pace car ducks down to the pit lane, this time by. Will we have any more yellows? Will we have hard racing? Will we have a different race leader? We're all about to find out. Green flag is back out in the air. Richie Coy gets a good restart, but Nathan Bigart gets a good restart equally, if not better. Gets a push from Simmons entering the corner, and Richie Coy is going to lose the race lead here off 2.
Yeah, well, I think we thought that the 19 beat the 01 off pit road, but I think the 01 made it inched ahead right at the last minute and was able to get the lead here. So I think he was the leader. He was able to fire off first, and that is huge for his race. And if you look back here as well, the 31 of Jeff Chandler has made an appearance in the top 5 all of a sudden. as well as the 42. We were talking about how fast the 42 is on a short run. Kyle Milliken here running the high side, starting to make some noise here as well for his team.
Yeah, Kyle Milliken doing a great job right now, just outside the top 5. Loses that 5th position to TJ Bartel. On corner exit off turn number 4. Still working to the outside here. Here comes Michael Strickland as well, back inside the top 10. He'll work down to the bottom shelf. Try to pass Kyle Milliken. Doesn't exactly do it. Him and Milliken side by side again, entering 3 with Strickland taking the position away.
As Strickland inching his way forward in that 9 Duracell Ford. He's starting to make his presence known as well as the 10. Again, the 10 doing a great job. He's kind of reminding me of the 10 of in Cup, the Noah Gregson machine. He's starting to inch his way towards the front as well. But I tell you, one guy we don't see up here that I think maybe got more damage than we may have expected is the 48 of Jamie Knopf. Jamie is currently running in 14th place. He was able to miss the 24 when he spun, but he hit the wall, and I'm afraid he may have some wheel damage. He may be out of contention as well.
Yeah, he has fallen right back all the way into that 14th position. You see him loose off turn number 2, and Brian Dublé looking to pounce on him with also Brian Bliss in that number 3 LSRTV neon yellow machine. So both the 24 and 48 still back in the back of the pack here. Daniel Simmons, fastest lap of the race, 2 laps to go with a 22.854. Jeff Chandler was the last one to have the fastest lap of the race, and here comes Jeff Chandler. We haven't really seen much of him all night long here. Obviously, Brody, he's been really flirting inside the top 10, just shy of the top 5. Now finds himself in a position where he could very well get this win. But by the way, Nathan Bigart, who's back out front, fastest lap of the race last time around.
Yeah, these guys are starting to put off some fast laps for sure. I mean, it's go time. At this point, I don't think there's any more pit stops. There's nothing else to fight for. You see him get to Jeff Chandler to the right to the rear bumper of the 06 of Daniel Simmons here. These guys getting close, but yeah, it's go time, Jason. It's time for them to hit that loud pedal and try to get to the front, and that's exactly what these guys are doing. Biggart's starting to pull out. He's got about a 1/10 of a second lead over Coy. You got Simmons back here. The battle we're watching here is going on about a second behind our leader. But yeah, you were talking about Jeff Chandler. Again, starting to inch his way forward. He's one of the guys that told me you need to be in the top 2 or 3 to really have a shot at this, and he's starting to put himself in position to have a chance.
Yeah, definitely doing that here as he battles with Daniel Simmons for the 3rd position back to turn number 3. The 31 still wrapping around that bottom side. Simmons running about half the car width off the bottom side, exiting turn 4. And Chandler almost got up into the outside wall, exiting turn number 4 here, but still doing a great job trying to hunt down this 06 machine. I remember hearing over the radio last week with Jeff Chandler. I know that if something doesn't go his way, he could definitely be hot under the collar.
Yeah, it's go time, and these guys are starting to put on a pretty good show here. I mean, you can tell in the body language of the cars that these guys are starting to push a little harder, trying to find that little bit of an extra edge to make things work here at Dover. And I just want to give a shout out, a guy that just cracked the top 5. He's one of those sleepers as well. The 98 of TJ Bartel moved into 5th place. He's another one that could kind of sneak up here and take a really good position. I mean, if a couple cautions fall his way, he could find himself in position to get his first win of the season as well.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. And how about Wayne Grassi there, the number 7 machine, along with James Wallace, both them working up inside the top 10. Well, I know we've talked about Colton Gum as well, but Wayne Grassi, haven't really talked a whole lot about him. He's fought probably a little bit of a loose race car here tonight. We've seen him have some big moments with some drivers, nearly putting it 3 wide on the bottom shelf. And Wayne Grassi finding himself in 7th, up 12 spots from where he started, doing a fantastic job. But Brody, this is the point in the race where you want to try to get the most you can out of your car, but I feel like you still have to save that little bit because it's still, remember, this time by the line, 55 laps to go. It is still a stretch to the end, but it's going to fly by.
It's still a long way to the end of the race. It sure is. It's a long way to take these tires. We saw the last run, how about halfway through the run, the guys started falling off, and you saw a big change in who was quick and who wasn't quick, who was falling back, who was moving forward. We're going to have that again if we stay green. And so these guys know it. They have to take care of their car. They have to take care of their tire. But they also need to find a way to get past that 01 of Biggar, because he's starting to run off with this thing.
Not just yet, because here comes Richie Coy, who from the first 2 stages somehow has learned to at least hang with Bigart for the time being. Yes, it is still that first quarter portion of the run so far, but the question will be, can Richie Coy hang with him and possibly get by the 01? Nathan Bigart back in that comfortable position that he's used to seeing all night long, was back at about 4th or 5th, has worked his way back up inside to that first position, with Richie Coy back to a very familiar spot that he doesn't really want to see there in 2nd.
Yeah, you have Daniel Simmons 1.8 seconds behind these guys. I mean, he's fallen well off at the top 2, and the only thing he can hope is his car comes in like it did last time, and he's able to kind of really run these guys down. And maybe he's hoping these guys kind of start racing each other, wearing their tires out. That's going to help him a lot too. So it's a mental game. It's a saving game. You've got to go fast, but you got to find a way to do it and save your tires. And I know Richie's wanting to find a way around this 01, that's for sure.
And you just saw Nathan Bigard kind of run that middle line entering turns 3 and 4. This time he'll kind of travel to the bottom, head up to the middle, and then cut back down like he's been doing. Richie's still trying to save the most tire that he can off these corners by just rim riding that bottom side of the racetrack. Here goes Bigard again, goes to the middle, and then goes back down to the bottom on corner exit. Coy does a little bit better job doing it on corner exit, so he still maintains that 0.2 of a second gap. I think Richie Coy possibly kind of figured out his car a little bit here, Brody. Might have made some good adjustments to the 19 machine, because I think this time around he's really hanging in with that number 01.
He is. He's starting to inch in. He's going to put the pressure on him. That's really his only shot. If he feels like the 01's got a better long-run car, he's really got to pounce now. He's got to make him use his stuff or either find a way around him. And I'll tell you another thing we haven't really talked about. I don't know if the weather's changed or not, but it looks like there's a little bit of a fog that's rolled in on the track as well. So if the weather's changing, it's going to change the track. It's going to change the grip level. It's going to change how things kind of feel on the track. It could change some of these cars as well.
Yeah, look at that wind speed now, 18 miles an hour. We started this race with about 12 to 11 miles an hour, so it just continues to creep up more and more. It says it's clear on the racetrack, but there is definitely a fog out here at Dover, and it is looking like shades of Pocono 2016 out here, but not completely or entirely. But it has definitely probably affected these race cars on the track in one ways or many. And the number 19... and Charles Wooten behind the scenes telling us it very well could be a wildfire, so possibly put out the virtual caution here, and we got to call up the virtual iRacing fire department in the infield to try to obviously put that thing out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to change the visuals for the drivers too. I mean, even on track, you notice that everything starts getting a little bit harder to see, a little more fog. It could have been the 11 machine sitting on pit road too. We won't rule that out. That might have something to do with the extra smoke in the air. But anyway.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Bigart though, just still, it looks like he's struggling right now. This 19 of Richie Coy here, Brody, like you were mentioning, putting that pressure on. Remember, we saw this 01 scrape the wall a couple times in those first couple stages because of the pressure Coy was putting on. But notice this 01 machine trying that diamond effect. It's not really working for him, because here comes Richie Coy, peeks to the inside, elects to stay back in line behind the 01. But I think because of that diamond effect he's trying to do, he's just not getting through the center as good as this 19 machine.
Yeah, he's starting to put pressure on him for sure. And he's going to have to put some pressure on him, because he's going to have to find something different to do the 01. We saw the 01 be so fast on the long run. And again, we were talking about how fast Simmons was. He's gained a little bit of time, maybe a 10th or 2 here or there, but he's kind of maintained in 3rd position. But we saw how fast he was on the long run. If he can match that speed, he can run these guys down on the long run. He can have a say in this.
Yeah, he definitely could have a say in this, and the gap is still about 1.8 seconds back from Richie Coy and Nathan Bigart back to Daniel Simmons. So if they get side by side, use their stuff up, the 06 could definitely play a factor here in the later portion of the run, like we saw last time in the last run, where he just shot out of a cannon all of a sudden. Richie Coy, though, still putting the pressure on here with Nathan Bigart. Just about to be 40 laps to go. In a couple laps, 41 this time by. But Richie Coy is so strong off these corners, he just can't get the run good enough on corner exit, Brody, to get down to the bottom of him as he gets a little tight entering turn 3.
Yeah, he's able to get the run off the corners, but it looks like the 01 just rolls the center a little bit better than the 19. When he gets in, and as I say that, the 01 goes up the track, so I'm not sure, maybe he's trying something new there, but it just looks like the 01's able to roll a little bit better through the center. Maybe a little more free than the 19 is, and that little bit is a lot over the length of a run.
Yeah, for sure, and obviously we're still going to find out and see what happens. Here's a good battle going on for the 7th position. James Wallace down to the inside of Wayne Grassi. He'll easily take away that spot from Grassi off turn number 4, and it was a really, really bad lap there for Wayne Grassi. Got way up out of the groove, I believe, entering turn number 3, costing him a ton of time with the 67 machine. And here comes Jose Acosta back inside the top 10 despite spinning out earlier, and he's still really hard charging here in that 24.
That's true. He's up to 9th, about to take 8th from Wayne Grassi here. So looks like Acosta's kind of able to rebound a little bit better than maybe I thought he was going to be able to. Able to cut through the track, through the pack, and starting to inch his way maybe towards the top 5 finish.
Yeah, but obviously the closer he gets up towards the front, the harder it's going to be to pass those guys, not only because of the speeds, but also because of the tires. Keep in mind now, as we're just under 40 laps to go here for the Monster Mile. 38 to go, 37 this time by. Richie Coy still hanging in there with Nathan Bigart, but again, just can't get by this 01 machine here, Brody. And this is that portion of the run where we start to see Richie Coy fade away. He's not as close as he's been, but he's still hanging in there.
This looks like the old Hamlin and Larson battle we saw on Sunday. He's there, he stays there, but what do you do with the guy? You know, where do you go? I mean, he's got the preferred lane, the preferred position. Where do you beat the guy? You can't beat him off the corner. You can't beat him into the corner. You roll in the center. I mean, it's just like you run out of options. Do you run higher? Again, Richie's talks about how he kind of struggles running higher on the track, so it kind of limits your ability to kind of move around. So you're really kind of hoping the 01 maybe makes a mistake, maybe opens the door, maybe he's using his tires up trying to stay out front. We saw these guys running the fastest laps of the race, so that's always a possibility too.
And Brody, do you think with the 19 machine saving the tires that he has maybe from running that bottom, do you think he could try something different and try to work up to this top side like we saw Kyle Larson do to get to Denny Hamlin yesterday?
I think it's difficult because, yes, he's running the bottom. Yes, he's running the preferred lane. But to stay on the bottom, sometimes you're actually taking life out of the tire as well because you're turning the car more. So it's a balancing act of, do you let the car kind of take its head? Do you kind of let it drift up the track and kind of go where it wants to? Or do you try to keep it around the bottom in the preferred groove? I've seen both work out, and I've seen both not work out. I'm not really sure what their position is at this point. It looks like Richie's kind of starting to fall off, kind of fade a little bit from the 01.
Yeah, he's lost about a tenth and a half or two, maybe even 3 on the 01 machine. Here comes Wayne Grassi. Maybe a surprise pit stop coming in here this time by. 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles going on the 7 Pennzoil Shell Camaro ZL1. Brody, do these guys have to pit one more time? I believe they might be good all the way to the end, though.
I think they're good to the end, based on the fuel mileage. We saw the 7th really struggling a few laps ago, so he may have just said, I've had enough, I'm coming to get tires, I can't handle this anymore. He kind of threw his hands up. He may also, maybe he's thinking he can make up some time out there with the new tires. So I don't know if you make up 2 laps, though. I mean, that's a slow pit road to come down to get some fresh tires.
Definitely, for sure. You saw Kyle Milliken shoot down to the bottom big time there, entering turn number 3, and he's going to come down to the pit road, and we talk about it being a hard time to get down there, and Kyle Milliken might get busted for a speeding penalty on pit road, locked up all 4 tires entering the pit road. Brody, you mentioned it earlier, one of the toughest pit roads to get onto in NASCAR.
It is, and it looks like he may have barely made it there. I think the 48 is on pit road as well. I don't know if he's out or if he's actually making a pit stop. But yeah, the 42 on pit road has got me kind of questioning whether or not these guys can make it, or maybe some of these guys just think they want to come get tires and see what they can do out there.
And there goes the 42, Kyle Milliken, out in the way, so it doesn't look like he's going to have a speeding penalty. He must have just got it done and got down to the pit road speed time. So usually whenever you get a speeding penalty on here on iRacing, usually that results in about a 40-second hold. Brian Dublé locks him up entering pit road. He's in this time by. A few drivers electing to come to pit road, Brody. Maybe some of them want to try to take tires and think it's valuable, but this is pretty much guys who are outside the top 10 coming in.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they do need to pit. I don't know, because some of these guys are kind of towards the back of the pack. I'm not sure if you have to pit. But if you do, man, I'm looking forward to it. That'll throw a whole wrench in everything we were just talking about. And that would kind of explain why Ricci was pushing so hard early on, knowing that there's a pit stop coming.
Yeah, and these guys last pitted primarily at lap 129 when that caution came out of Jose Acasi. You think about it, this is a 200-lap race, the distance here at Dover for these guys here tonight. So you're looking at about an 82-lap or 81-lap pit window. So I personally don't think they're gonna make it. I think we're gonna see these guys go one more stop. Now remember, we talked about it earlier. These Cup cars, since the Generation 7 car was introduced, compared to the Gen 6 car that was awfully familiar to that Xfinity Series car, they had about the same amount of fuel load, and the same could be said for the truck. But with this next-gen car, they have a bigger fuel load. They have that bigger fuel cell, so they can go the extra 4 to 6 laps, so it makes that window a little larger. But 80 laps, though, Brody, seems kind of tight.
Yeah, I think we just got the message that the leaders do not have to pit. Some of these other guys may be trying a little bit different strategy, but I don't think the leaders will be coming to pit road. And again, you see Richie Coy starting to fall back. You got Wayne Grassi going around the 14 there. You see what new tires? You see the difference of new tires versus old tires. Wayne just cutting through the field here by the 35. He's definitely got some speed these guys do not have. But unfortunately, he's got 2 laps to make up, and so it's going to be a tough one to make up with 24 laps to go.
Yeah, definitely out of contention being Wayne Grassi, Kyle Milliken as well, who's 2 laps down in 14th. Only 13 cars currently on the lead lap. That last lead lap car, Ryan Hedrick, back by 22.5, almost 22 3/4 of a second from that number 01 machine. You saw him out in the distance there. He's about a turn or two ahead of the number 01 machine, about 2 seconds. Rather, as you just saw him fade out in the picture there, perfect picture entering turn number 1. There's the 47, along with Joshua Johnson, the 57. So lap traffic 2 here might play a big thing here. And look at this fog as well.
Definitely some fog rolling in here. Sure, worse out there too. I can confirm though that the guys do not have to pit. Just got a message from Tony Solari from our team that our guys are good. They were 20 laps short of making stage, so they're more than good to go. But yeah, look at the going now. The 06 of Daniel Simmons, he is really starting to march towards the year. He's going to have something to say about this for sure. I mean, he's there.
He was 1.8 seconds back about 20 laps ago, and all of a sudden this 06 machine of Simmons has turned on the jets. Last time around, he was faster than Nathan Bigard by 0.2 of a second. He'll work down to the inside of Richie Coy, try to throw it down in there. Simmons looking for second here on Richie Coy, entering 3 and 4. He'll take the positional way off 4 and set his sights on leader Nathan Bigard.
Man, he made that look easy. He's on a tear. He's going to get there. He's only a half a second behind at this point. So the 01's going to have some company here very shortly. That 06 kid's done a masterful job at some tires for sure. Whatever he was doing back there, it's really got for him nicely here. You're coming toward the race.
Yeah, this time by 18 laps to go here from the Monster Mile, and Daniel Simmons still right now about equal, if not faster, than the number 01 machine of Nathan Bigard there. And you see Richie Coy continuing to fall off in the Victory Fuel machine. Brody, this is a big thing here. I think Daniel Simmons, if he could just hold it together for 18 more laps and Nathan Bigard continues to fall off his race pace, this 06 might have something to say here.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here. He's definitely a lot faster than the 01. And again, I hate to say it, but live traffic is also going to kind of play a factor here, because as they catch some of these slower cars, again, we talked about how you're trying to pick what What line are you going to run?
Oh!
Move around. The 42 get rather in front of the 06.
Big moment for the 42 of Kyle Milliken, trying to utilize those fresher tires. Gets really loose on corner exit there. Does a great job saving it. Has to gather himself back up, but look at the gap here, Brody. Daniel Simmons continuing to cut in. It's about 6.5 tenths right now. He just got past Joshua Johnson, but this is the thing for Simmons. He's going to have to get around Josh Johnson. He's going to have to try to see what he can do with the 42 as Milliken right up on the quarter panel, trying his best to not hinder the Simmons machine, but still just can't get by him.
Yeah, he's in a tough position. The 42's guy is trying to get around. He's trying to get around the 57, and meanwhile the one also catching traffic as well. This is again, we have traffic, different lanes and stuff. Looks like they're going to kind of get a favor here from the 57. Able to clear. Now, slams the wall on the stretch.
The 42 of Kyle Milliken overcorrects it hard up into the wall. Shades of almost Kaz Growlett from Saturday's Cup qualifying. Oh, and we got a caution. Kyle Milliken. And how about this? Kyle Milliken, I believe, may have brought out the caution, may have spun. Coming to pit road, possibly. We'll have to take a look back and see. And there's the hit to the outside wall for the 42. And does anything happen to him here? He is up and into the wall. And I believe, yeah, he slows down to pretty much a dead stop, Brody. And that's basically what caused the caution there, because he's trying to get down but just can't.
Yeah, I mean, the car is broken at that point. He's kind of riding the wall, trying to find a way to get to pit road. Unfortunately, I mean, he had those fresh tires, but yeah, just when he slammed the wall there, I'm sure he bent something on the suspension, and tough break for him. But man, did this get interesting all of a sudden.
And this is going to be interesting here. I'm imagining they're going to come to the pit road, considering there is only 10 cars on the lead lap, and here they come this time by. Simmons doesn't try to close the gap, so this should be a easy win for Nate Bigart off pit road, coming down to the pit lane. He'll lead everybody inside the top 10 to come down pit road. Brody, if you're this 01 machine here on this restart, you got to try to get away, and you got to try to get away fast.
This is a slow pit speed as well, 35 miles an hour. Don't speed, don't stop, and launch out of your pit road. I mean, out of your pit stall. We saw the 19 have such a big launch, such a great launch out of his pit stall. He's going to have a really solid stop here, and we'll see if these guys can. Looks like, is that the 48 that beat everybody up there?
Oh my goodness! Daniel Simmons, Richie Coy, 2 tires, I believe, on those cars. And here's the thing, though, Brody, is this strategy can work. It worked for some guys in a C-Fixed race I did the other day where they elected to take 2 tires. I accidentally, go figure, I did it, of course, forgot to uncheck my left sides and wanted to take the same type of strategy. This could be what wins Daniel Simmons or Richie Coy this race. Nathan Bigart might have those fresher left sides, but 2 tires with less than 10 laps to go when we come back to green, this may have worked into the 06 and 19's favor.
Listen, they had to do something different, right? You can't, if you're going to follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader. That's what Larry Mack always said. He's completely right. You've got to do something different. We've seen the 01 take off really quick. We've seen the 19 take off really quick. But if you're the 06, we've seen it. The 06 takes to kind of get in his rhythm. We've seen him fall back a second and a half behind the leaders. You've got to do something different to get that fresh air, get to the front and control this restart, and try to do something with us as he's having trouble. We'll catch a short run. So great move 6. If I'm the 19, I'm a little iffy because I felt like that I kind of matched the pace of the 01. So you really don't want to put yourself at a deficit, but he does have track position. It's gotten really interesting here. We're going to have probably 9 laps to go here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And Michael Strickland has moved up inside the top 5. He is now 4th, so this gives him an opportunity to possibly come out here. Imagine that. If he could come out here on his debut and pick up his first win, I don't think, obviously besides the first race ever here at FTSR, I don't think anybody, I don't believe maybe has ever done this possibly. Brody, you know more than me.
Yeah, I don't know that that's well. It could possibly happen. We've had a lot of good guys come through here, so it could have happened for sure. And again, it does open the book up for some of these guys back there. These guys up front start to get racing hard. If the 2 tires doesn't take off like we think they're going to, if you spin the tires on the restart, I mean, there's all these scenarios. It could really shake things up here. Anybody here on the lead lap has a chance at this. You look at the 24. The 24 is back up to 7th position on the restart. He could play a factor. He doesn't have much damage, but here he is again, and we know he's very aggressive. He's going to make something happen. This is going to get really good.
And what will happen? We're going to restart with 8 laps to go. Only 13 cars on the lead lap. It's going to be Simmons and Coy on the front row with Big Art and Strickland in row 2. Bartel, Chandler, Acosta, Wallace, Tracy, and Lane Allen, your top 10. What is going to happen? Who is going to tame Miles the Monster? Will he take a bite out of anybody within these last 8 laps? We're about to get ready, buckle down, and settle down, and find out. Here we go. Green flag is back out. Simmons fires out of the restart zone, but Richie Coy gets an equal opportunity. TJ Bartel thought about peeking to the inside of Big Art. They're side by side exiting turn number 2. This could open up the door for the 01 of Big Art off 2.
Off turn 2, side by side, the 01 looking for somewhere to go. The 06 starting to fade a little bit. The 19 is going to take the lead into 3, but here comes the 06 on the bottom trying to make something happen, getting tight. We see the 31 almost gets the wall, and they head into turn 1 again, door to door. The 06 and the 19 battling for the lead.
Side by side in the closing laps at Dover Motor Speedway. 6.5 laps remaining on the 1.03 mile concrete canyon. Simmons slips back to 3rd. Big Art looking to the outside here off turn number 4. He scrapes the wall. Richie Coy getting away with about a 4 or 5 car length advantage over the rest of the field. Fastest lap of the race, 22.714. Last time around for Coy. He's trying to steal one here today from Dover, while Simmons and Big Art battle for 2nd and 3.
If I'm Coy, I love what I'm seeing in the back as the 06 kind of slides up into the 01. These guys are battling hard for 2nd place. Meanwhile, Coy is setting sail. He's loving what he's seeing back there behind him. And honestly, the number 9 machine's looking for somewhere to go as well here. We could end up 3 wide if we're not careful.
And Richie Coy just wants to see that white flag, but guess who has cleared himself into 2nd? Nathan Big Art. We know how good Richie Coy... Oh, and Strickland hits the wall, and here comes Acosta to the inside, battling inside the top 5. He'll try to go for 4th. Richie Coy, though, meaning business, posts an even faster lap in the race lead with a 22.557. We know how good he is on the short run, and he's got to do it for 3 more laps, Brody, as Nathan Big Art is trying to catch him off 4.
This is not over. We could still have a caution, and you've got to keep that in your mind if you're in the 19 of Richie Coy. You've got to take care of your tires. You do want to get that big lead, but anything can happen here. You do want to see that white flag, and you can seal it up. But we still got 3 laps to go. You got to run your laps. You got to run your pace. You got to hit your marks because the 01 is still coming.
And Nathan Big Art last time around posted an even faster lap. Richie Coy answers back with an even faster lap. Cracks into the force, 22.494, Brody. Richie Coy half a lap away from seeing the white flag, trying to steal one away from the man who's been dominant all night long.
Through 3 and 4, this is what he wants to see, the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Dover. He's done everything he could do, took the 2 tires, got out, got the track position. Pit strategy worked out for him. He's just got to make another half a mile around Dover Motor Speedway.
A few weeks ago at Phoenix, he got the win due to Jose Acosta's fault of a restart violation. Tonight, he'll finally be able to cross the flag and see his 2nd win of the season, but he does it by finishing 1st across the line. Richie Coy picks up his 2nd win of the season, and it comes at one of his home tracks. Dover Motor Speedway. He tames Miles the Monster. Nathan Bigart and Jose Acosta will finish up on the podium. Brody, what a job by Richie Coy. 2 tires was the call, and it gets him the win.
It definitely was. When he got the clean air, when he was finally able to clear the 06 of Daniel Simmons, he was able to set sail. The 06 and the 01 kind of got side by side, kind of got stuck battling each other for second place. He was able just to kind of inch out and kind of do his own race. He was able to kind of put some distance between him and the 01, which is what he needed, because the 01 was still coming. And man, he was driving. All these guys were driving really hard at the end, setting his fastest laps. The 22.494, fastest lap of the race, right there at the end of the race. What an incredible job by Richie Coy, even by Nathan. Jose Acosta gets the 3rd place. We didn't even mention that. Daniel Simmons falls to 4th. What an exciting race we had here at the end of Dover.
And you see the 19 of Richie Coy doing that Alan Kowicki style Polish victory lap that Martin Truex Jr. has done every single time he has won here at the Monster Mile. And Richie Coy paying homage to the number 7 machine of Alan Kowicki and also Martin Truex Jr., both New Jersey natives. And Richie Coy, while he burns down here on the front straightaway, let's take a look at your race results unofficially presented by live at simracingtv.com. Richie Coy obviously getting that 2nd win of the season. Nathan Bigart got those 2 stage wins, but Richie Coy capitalized with that win. Jose Acosta with a spin comes back to be on the podium in 3rd. Daniel Simmons 4th. Strickland in his first FTSR start comes home in the top 5. Jeff Chandler, last year's winner, comes home a respectable 6th place. Bartel, Allen, Tracy, and Brian Bliss, Brody, round out their top 10.
Yeah, in 11th place is James Wallace coming from the back, able to claim an 11th place finish. His teammate Joshua Johnson right in his quarter pocket in 12th place. Another teammate, Brian Hedrick, in 13th. You got the 14th place finisher, Colton Gum. Great run all night. Finally finishes just short of top 10. Dublé in the 3rd, coming in 15th place. 16th, the 7 of Wayne after a late race pit stop. You got the 42 Kyle Milken had issues race, able to come on but 11 laps down. You got the 48 of Jamie Knopf, who had issues when the 24 spun. The 44 Beck and the 4 of Chad Lang round out your top 20.
Rest of your field from 21st down to 26. Sherwood Williford, a night of what could have been after starting up in the front. He'll come home 21st. Tony Solari, again, another tough night compared to Talladega 1 week ago for the driver of the 11. James Torrey, the number 6, will come home 23rd. Crowell, Euler, and Justin Diltz will round out your 26th spot. We'll take a quick break, gather up, and wrangle up our top 3 podium finishers. We'll talk to them here in post-race in just a minute. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Post Race from the Monster Mile. Just wrapping up here for race number 11 of the FTSR Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. And me and Brody Hannon, Charles Wooten have gathered up the top 3. And we'll step over to Jose Acosta coming home 3rd here tonight. Jose, really fast car. But then talk about what happened on the front straightaway there with Daniel Simmons.
I got no idea. I still got to see the replay. I think I got spun out. I'm not sure. I don't know if I came down a little bit or he came up a little bit. I just got to see the replay. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, that's a heck of a rebound, though, Jose, to come back to third place after all that. I didn't think the damage was a big hindrance, but I thought track position was going to be an issue. Talk about working your way back through the field and kind of the mindset of, okay, can I get there? Can I get back to the front? To come home third, it's amazing that you made it to third place.
Yeah, that definitely a yellow flag at the end. It helped me a little bit. I was already 5th place when that yellow flag came out. But it was 70 laps to go, so I just took it easy, basically easier than the first 3 starts. So because I knew it was going to be a long run, and that definitely helped me a lot. I didn't have no damage at all when I hit it. I had 0 damage, so I was surprised. And basically drive slower, and that literally helped me to get to the front.
Well, Jose, after finishing third place tonight, man, before we let you go, who do you got to thank for that great run on that 24 Wolfpack machine?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to the wolfpackcrew.com, also to you guys in the booth, and to the league as well.
There you go. Short little post-race wrap-up for Jose Acosta, rebounding after a spin to come home third. And now we'll step over to Nathan Bigard. Nate, I know you probably wanted that one, man. You dominated pretty much more than half the race. It's got to sting a little bit coming home P2.
Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely feels like Richie stole one out from me. But, he was fast all night. He was pushing me the whole way, making me go a lot faster than I wanted to. So I knew it was going to be tough to beat him tonight. And definitely didn't want to see that last caution. I was bummed and really surprised when I saw him and Dan both threw 2 tires. I was like, oh, 8 laps to go. This will be easy. And it wasn't. He was putting down fast laps of the race on 2 tires. So hats off to him. Great call. Great race. But yeah, I really wanted that victory fuel tonight.
Yeah, Nate. I mean, you led so many laps tonight with dominant stage 1, stage 2. I was like, man, if something doesn't happen, he's got this wrapped up. That caution came out late. And then you talk about the strategy with the 19 and the 06 taking 2 tires. I was with you. I didn't think that was going to work. I was like, 2 tires, it's going to be a tricky restart. I was like, I don't know if that's really the call. But, man, he got out front. You got to battling with the 06. Just talk about all night having to deal with that 19 on your bumper. And, I think you had the fastest car. But just talk about your night and kind of how you had to progress through stage 1, stage 2, and how you got here.
Yeah, on stage 2. Man, I had a moment coming out of 2 when we first dropped the green, and I thought I was wrecking myself and the guys behind me, but luckily saved it, but fell back to like 4th. And yeah, the car just drives so much different when you're back there that I just had to slow up the pace and take my time and work the way forward. But again, hats off to these guys. Real fast, real fun racing, and congrats to the Jose for making it back up to 3rd after the incident. And definitely hats off to Richie for the win.
And Nate, I know you got to thank Mom like you always do closing out, but who else you got to thank here for coming home P2 on one that probably will sting for the next week?
Yeah, I want to thank the drivers themselves. Clean racing. You can't beat that, man. That front pack just all switching positions, running hard, but being real clean. That was fun. Shout out to FTSR, the league. Brody doing a broadcast tonight. That's awesome. Can't wait to go back listen to how good he is at that job.
You guys put on a show. It was fun to watch. It was easy.
Yeah. Shout out to Fuego Autosports and Fuego Paints. Joe Grojava bringing me into the league, team owner. Michael Strickland came in to fill in for him because he couldn't make it tonight, trying to get us some team points. And great job by him coming home 5th, his first race out here with these guys. So yeah, he kept it clean, didn't want to run anybody hard, just out here trying to help us out. Really appreciate it. All the fans watching, and number 1 fan, Mom, love you.
Always got to thank Mom. Nate Bigard coming home P2 here tonight. Will probably still leave as your points leader. But now we'll talk to the man who's been hot on his heels in the points and gets his 2nd win of the season tonight. Richie Coy. We head over to Victory Fuel Victory Lane, where you can use code COY19 at drinkvictory.com to use 10% off on your purchase. Richie, this time you get to finish a race in 1st without it obviously coming into you with a penalty with Jose Acosta back at Phoenix. It's got to feel good to finally get that checkered flag, actually cross the line 1st, man.
Jason, this one was awesome. If you watch my stream back, I guarantee I was screaming for the last lap, man. It was unbelievable. I mean, I got so many people to thank for this one. I had the easy part, driving the car. Man, Nate had it won up until that. I got to thank the guy who brought out the caution. Without that, I wouldn't have had a shot. I got to thank Daniel Simmons for racing Nate hard and letting me get out a little bit. But man, 2 tires. It's awesome, Jason. It's just freaking awesome.
Well, Richie, I might be your new luck, good luck charm here in the booth. Maybe I should start doing this more often. You were able to get that win. That's awesome. Listen, I just have one question. Where did you learn to take 2 tires in the next end? We saw this and we were like, there's no way this works. There's no way 2 tires on a restart at Dover. It almost seems like a death sentence to me. But you and Daniel were able to make that work. Just talk to me about how you came up with, like, okay, I'm going to take 2 tires and get clean air.
So I was fighting tight all night long, especially off the corner, and being behind in second for basically the whole race. I was so tight behind everybody else that I was burning off that right front. I figured when the caution came out with a couple laps to go, I'm like, I'm 4th or 5th. I mean, I got nothing for the front here if we got to go restart. Let's try something wacky and different. And I thought I was actually going to have the lead off, but Daniel did it too. And I thought we got the green flag. I went down into 1 and 2, and I took the lead going down the backstretch. And I'm like, all right, I got it. And then I screwed up 3 and 4. And he came back on me, but then I was able to pull out. And honestly, the car was a rocket ship on them 2 tires. It loosened the car up just enough that it was a rocket.
Yeah, and Richie, obviously, man, coming home P1 tonight, 2nd win of the year. Who do you got to thank for coming home P1 at Dover tonight?
Well, like I said, got to thank everybody we're racing with. You know, nice, really good, clean racing, side-by-side racing. Got to thank Fury Motorsports for putting a great car under me tonight, having the opportunity, my pit crew for giving me the opportunity to get out front there. I got to thank you guys for in the booth. I got to thank Tony's mom and dad for watching. Hopefully they can they watch this one. And you know, once again, thank everybody for the league for having a great race tonight.
And that's Richie Coy coming home P1 tonight. And obviously that'll wrap us up here with post-race from Dover. Brody, man, what a show we had here tonight. These guys did not disappoint up here on the Monster Mile. And also thank you for joining up here in the booth, switching roles for once. I know I did last week. Ended up pretty good for me. I'd say it ended up pretty well for you here the last 2 weeks.
Well, I'll say these guys had a lot of fun out there. I had a lot of fun up here, just being able to call the race and watch the race unfold. A lot of action, a lot of things going on out there on the track, and a short run to the end. You really couldn't ask for much more in a race. So I've had a lot of fun up here. I've had more fun up here than I've had in a while. So you may see me up here again if you'll have me. That was a lot of fun.
Well, there you go. He said you're next Monday. Yeah, it was definitely an awesome race for sure. No doubt about it. Thank you for joining me up here in the booth. Definitely flowed really well together. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun race. That's going to come to a conclusion here tonight for us from Dover. For everybody at iRacing, Rocket Racing Media, Charles Wooten, FTSR, obviously. Got to thank them. Brody Hanna for joining me alongside up here in the booth. Jeff Stabnow, everybody from LSRTV. We'll say good night from Dover. We'll see you